All right, everyone, welcome to part two of today's podcast, Monday, April 10th, 2023. It is the MMAOB Daily Podcast. Adam Martin here with my co-host, Big Marcel. Monday night, Marcel, always look forward to the podcast, man, with you. All right, so we just recapped UFC 287. Now we're going to UFC Kansas City. This card's pretty good, man. We were just talking about it off air, Marcel. 14 fights in this card, so it's a very deep card. Give me your thoughts on this one, man, overall, before we jump into the individual fights.
Yeah, man, it's a fun card. Looking forward to it. Like I said, like 1 minute ago, I still have no idea why Nicolau against Royval is on the prelims. That should definitely be another main card. But yeah, some fun fights. Looking forward to it. I think some prelim fights are also pretty good. So overall a fun fight card, a good fight night, and you can't have a bad lineup in front of an audience, in my opinion. So yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. All right, guys, let's get some comments here. We got Quinn. Tickets. Yeah, the tickets are not. That's not expensive at all. I mean, if I lived there, I would love to go to this card. I think this card's really good, guys. I think this card's really good. I agree with you guys. Like, especially breaking it down. Like, the undercard is pretty deep. Like, it's a good card. We got 14 fights, so let's get into it, Marcel. Why waste any time? Let's start with the first fight here. We got Joselyne Edwards taking on Lucie Pudilova, and odds on Pudilova, Marcel. Minus 140 is the favorite. Joselyne Edwards plus 115 on the comeback. That's the dog. What do you think?
You go first.
Well, it's like a lower level women's fight, but like they're both decent fighters. Like both got the talent. I think I have to go with Pudilova though, just because like she is on in the UFC. She hasn't performed that well overall, but she did look good in her comeback against Wu Yan. Overall, since leaving the UFC, I think she's won like 7 of her last 8 fights, so like pretty consistent. Looks improved. Obviously, really tough girl. Good ground and pound, good ground game, and that's kind of what I'm banking on here. Joselyne Edwards is, I think, on the feet, probably the more effective striker. She lands a lot of strikes in her fights. The last 2 fights, she broke 100 strikes landed in each of those fights. That's impressive, but to me, like the takedown defense isn't great. Like Jessica Rose Clark took her down 5 times. Carol Hosta took her down 4 times. I kind of feel like Pudilova can get her down just like her last fight with Gillian. Get her down. Don't know if she finishes her because I do think Edwards is a tougher, but I kind of feel like Pudilova will kind of wrestle her, Marcel, grind her out, and probably win the decision. Although I guess there is a chance of a finish like the last fight, just if she gets her opponent tired. But yeah, I lean towards Pudilova. It's not like the strongest lean because again, they're not like, they're not superstar fighters by any means. It's kind of there's probably some variance here, but yeah, I think Pudilova is probably the better fighter, so I'll pick her. What do you think?
Coin flip kind of fight.
Yeah.
Also going Pudilova, but coin flip kind of fight, man. This almost screams split decision.
You know what? That's a good bet actually, because last week both the women's fights I think went to split. It's never a bad call, in the UFC. Like it seems like I would guess, especially if you look at a fight, you're like, okay, this fight's close. Like going for a split decision prop, either fighter winning by split, it's something to keep in mind. So sorry, I just wanted to jump in and say that because
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I said it and then I said I agree with you. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have said it. That's the thing. I think it's close fight. I think the Pudilova will likely win it, but I think both girls will do a lot in the fight, and it will be probably difficult for the judges to judge this fight. So Pudilova for me, split decision.
Let's get some comments. What's up, Crazy Pato? Here he is, man. Good afternoon to you. Joe likes Edwards. Yeah, it's a close fight, Joe. Antoine, would you guys say it's pay-per-view quality fight night? I think it's a really good fight night. I don't know if it's pay-per-view quality because it's lacking a title fight, but I think it's a really good fight night. Remember like those old Fox cards that was kind of stacked more than the regular pay-per-view or regular fight nights? That's kind of like this. They don't do that anymore, but you know what I mean, Marcel? They would stack them a little more. That's to me like this one. Is this on ABC? Do you know if this one is?
No, that's Charlotte card is on ABC.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay.
This one is on ESPN.
They're clearly trying to showcase Jilton in that fight.
Yeah, definitely. This one ESPN is pretty late because of the basketball playoffs, I think. So
yeah, there's a lot of playoff games starting this week. Where the comparison on the early cards is great. I think it's a great card, yeah. If Arnold Allen's who wins, better feather. We'll talk about Allen after. I don't want to think about him right now. How did Bolanos get signed for this card? I don't know. Like it's weird. Like they signed him last year, but he doesn't have a great record. He is an exciting guy to watch, but you wouldn't think a guy. I think he's like 1-2 in his last 3 fights, right? Like they signed him. Was there some deal with someone else that he trains with or something, or?
I don't know.
Kind of a weird signing, eh? Like maybe his manager was like, "Hey, if you sign this guy, we have to bring in him too." Remember that guy Martin Sino? That like
that Diaz guy,
his like teammate. He sucked, right? Like no offense to him, but he still kicked my ass, but
it's the same with Charles Oliveira, who got, but those are actually good fighters.
Daniel Willycat guy is actually like really good though.
Yeah,
right?
and also Alan Nascimento.
Yeah, he's great. yeah, those guys are good. Won some money. Patrick says on Barber League going to split. Yeah, there was a fight last year. Was it Joselyne Edwards? God, it was. Yeah, versus Jiyeon Kim. I bet on that fight going to split decision, Marcel, and I cashed. It was like plus 750 or something. Like, I know. I was like, I was telling Cole, I'm like, I really think this fight's going to split. Like, just watch. And it was in Texas too. So like, if it's in Texas, man, bet on the splits.
Yeah. So while Bruce was reading the scorecard, we're going to the judges' scorecards for decision.
I loved it. I was like,
yes.
You never know because there could be a draw, but yeah, usually it means you won. All right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. Yeah, I mean, we talk about Bolanos, right? Like, he's up next here. Gaston. Bolanos taking on Aaron Phillips in the UFC bantamweight division. And honestly, this is kind of, like, it's a fun fight. Someone's probably going to get finished in this fight, but like, this is more of like a Bellator fight than a UFC fight. And I don't mean it like, I don't want to say it like derogatory terms because like Bellator is still great, but like, I just don't think it's a UFC caliber fight, Marcel. This fight, because to me, Aaron Phillips has looked pretty bad in the UFC, 0-3. Never been impressed with his game. I know he's done well outside the UFC, but like in the octagon, just hasn't done well. And then Bolanos, like, again, kind of an exciting guy, but like 3 losses, didn't do great in Bellator, and now he's going to the UFC. I don't know, Marcel. It's kind of weird they signed this guy. I agree with Glenn, who was saying that earlier. Oh, sorry. Let me get the odds for this one. So yeah, let's just talk about this fight. Bolanos minus 190, Phillips plus 155. I'll start again on this one, Marcel. I can't pick Aaron Phillips because I have not been impressed with his game at either time he's been in the UFC. At the same time, though, I just don't trust Bolanos because like I've seen him lose to guys like he should beat before. So it's a fight I would stay away from as well. I'll pick Bolanos because I think he's got more like pure power and can knock him out. But I don't know, man. Like the cardio worries. There's a lot of stuff that worries me with this dude. Like submission defense, everything really. I can't pick Aaron Phillips. So Bolanos by knockout, but yeah, I'm not completely sold on this guy. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he got knocked out either. So what do you think?
It's difficult, man. Normally in this kind of fights where we think it's really close, you're going to look at who beat Jay Ellis, but both didn't. So, yeah, I mean, Gaston Bolanos, he was fun to watch, dude, at Bellator, not going to lie. I mean, he was fun to watch, but not really high level, I feel, Aaron Phillips actually changed his nickname, dude. I still thought his nickname was The Model, but it's the Dragon right now. I remember when he came in the UFC, it was Aaron The Model Phillips. So, I'm going with Bolanos as well. I would say I would bet on the finish in this one probably.
Phillips has never been knocked out, but he was knocked out as an amateur. Knocked out as a pro, I should say. He did lose by injury TKO to Chris Gutierrez. Jack Shore submitted him, but I'm with you. I picked him by knockout too. So I don't know, man. I remember in Bellator where he lost that Daniel Carey guy. What was he? He was a minus 1,100 favorite. That always worries me, It's always a worry. But, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt this guy's nasty, right? Like, he's got nasty striking. But, again, Marcel, what if he doesn't finish in the first round? I could see Aaron Phillips winning with the cardio.
Exactly, yeah.
That's the worry here. That's the worry, guys. Here's a question. What would you rate this card?
7.
Like an 8 for me. I think the card's good. All right. Well, if I just said that should be in Bellator, that fight. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Marcel, we got a women's fight between Bruna, Brasil, and Denise Gomes. Who's her girlfriend? Carol Hoxa? Is that who it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we saw her fight in the UFC. Odds for this fight. We have Bruna Brasil minus 225. Denise Gomes is plus 180. And again, this fight in the UFC women's strawweight division. Marcel, give me your pick on this one.
Yeah, I think it's actually very nasty from Bruna to take the whole country with her while she's fighting a Brazilian. So, yeah, I mean, Bruna did really good, dude, in the contender series. She knocked out Marnik Man, right? Looked really good. Her debut now in the UFC. If you look at Denise Gomes, she had that short notice fight against Loma Lubunmi, which was, Luma was better, but it was competitive. She lost the fight. She had a great fight with Rayana Almeida in the Amanda. I'm sorry, in the Contender Series, plus a win before against Milana Dudieva, who is a former UFC fighter, but she fought her in Invicta. Man, I mean, I was impressed by Bruna Brasil, dude. Got to be honest, you know. And I feel like I have to pick her here to win. It's really difficult. Both Brazilian girls, both still very early in their career in the UFC.
Yeah.
Can go either way, but I'm with Bruna Brasil. Going with a finish, no decision win.
Yeah, I was thinking of this fight. I'm like, I think they're both pretty good fighters, to be honest with you. Like, Denise Gomes, like you said, that fight Contender still good, and then I know she lost to Loma, but she had some good moments in that fight too. And I you know, her UFC debut was on short notice. Like, I don't think she looked that bad in that fight. So she's definitely a pretty solid fighter. But here's the thing: I was thinking of both of them, and I'm like, okay, who am I going to pick here? And I'm just thinking to myself, well, that head kick was nasty on Contender by Brazil, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, she's definitely more special, right? And then I click on her Tapology, her nickname's literally the special one, and I'm like, okay, that's a sign that I have to pick her. I have to, Marcel. Like, I think she's a really good fighter that I've seen so far. This is obviously her UFC debut. You know, you always have to keep that in mind. But yeah, Marcel, I'm going to pick her, man. I think she gets the job done. Does she knock this girl out? I don't know. I mean, that's the question, right? I don't know. I mean, that's it's kind of hard to say because Gomes, I think she's pretty durable. I think she showed that in her last fight. You know, she has been finished by strikes before. It's possible. But I gotta lean towards Brazil. She is favored to win the fight, Marcel. So it's not like I'm going like on a limb here. But yeah, I think they're both talented young women. But I gotta go with Brazil. I think she's a little more special. You think a finish or a decision?
Decision.
That's what I'm thinking too. But yeah, I mean, a lot of her wins are by finish. So
what are we gonna sing after the fight?
What are we gonna sing?
Brazil, yeah, la 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 la. Sorry, I had to do it.
Okay, all right. So let's go to the next fight here. Cruising through the early prelims here, Marcel. The next fight, we have the lightweight bout between Lando Vannata and Daniel Zellhuber. Odds for this one are basically a pick 'em. Slightly towards Daniel Zellhuber, minus 115, minus 105, Lando Vannata. I'll start on this one too, Marcel. This is kind of a tough fight to pick, I think, man. This one's tricky, in my opinion, anyways. Like, I thought Zellhuber looked great on Contender, and then he just laid an egg against Trey Ogden. It worries me. Maybe it was just, you know, the jitters. Maybe he's gotten rid of them now, hopefully. And then
lay an egg?
Here. Pardon?
Lay an egg? Is that the sort
Yeah, something like that. I think that's what they say, laying an egg. He just looked bad. I mean, he looked terrible in that fight. Like, was not competitive at all. Weird performance, man. I want to assume that was just, you know, a learning curve for this guy, right? He's only 23, I believe, so he's super young, super talented. And then with Lando Vannata, you know, he's a veteran, been around for a long time, very inconsistent though. You know, UFC record has not strung together 2 wins in a row. He's actually alternated wins and losses for his past like 6 fights, so he's due for a win here. But I don't know. I mean, this is tough, man, because Vannata's, you know, been in there with better competition. You know, he's very tough, but I still want to believe in Zellhuber, right? I still want to believe in the guy. Because I saw something special in this kind of contender, and you know, he's still so much bigger than his opponent here, man. Remember, some lightweight, right? Yeah, I'll go with Zellhuber by decision, but I don't think I can bet it because, you know, just that performance against Ogden. I mean, maybe though, you know, it's kind of like kind of on the fence about like a bet. I don't know, man. Like, the line is really tempting, right? It's a pick 'em, you know. But at the same time, I do kind of feel it's a competitive fight. It's going to go to the scorecards probably too, right? So the judges get involved. I don't know. What do you think, man? I want to hear your thoughts on this one.
I still have a smile on my face because you're talking about laying an egg.
Laying an egg, yeah, I know. What do you think about this fight, man?
I think it's like it's difficult, you know, because of that last performance of Zellhuber. You know, at the same time, he looked good, man, and he looked good against Lucas Almeida, who I'm really high on. You know, so I don't think he. Maybe it was the octagon jitters, you know. For Vannata is a tough veteran. It's difficult. He's also very inconsistent. You know what I mean? So it's. I would still go with Zellhuber. I think he wins the decision. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's my pick too. So we actually have the same thought on that, which is interesting. All right, we'll go to the next fight here, guys. We got a women's strawweight bout between Gillian Robertson and Piera Rodriguez. Another close one, Marcel, on the odds. The odds for this one. We have -115 Julia Robertson, -105 Piera Rodriguez. What do you think about this one? Another really close fight according to the odds.
Yeah, that's a difficult one as well. Although I really like Piera Rodriguez, man. I think she's pretty good. She's also still young, look good in her fights. Pretty just good. I think she's really good. Definitely on the ground game is pretty good. Striking is pretty decent. If you look at her opponent, Gillian Robertson, inconsistent. Looked good against Maria Agapova last time out. Had some weird losses in the UFC as well. Some losses that I think she shouldn't have. Against when she fought better competition, I think JJ Aldrich she lost to, for example. She also lost to Miranda Maverick. And I'm not going to say anything about Tyler Santos because Tyler obviously is one of the better girls, And
Yeah.
it's okay, that can happen. But yeah, difficult, man. I think Robertson can finish her if she gets her in a good position. At the same time, I feel like I'm not going against Rodriguez because I really think she's good.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Piera Rodriguez. I'm not going to go with a finish, but with a decision win. Hard fought decision win.
Man, I agree. I actually agree. So we have the same thoughts on this fight. Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good fight. A lot of grappling, obviously. I think in this fight, Marcel. Julia Robertson, like again, she has been fighting mostly at flyweight, right? So that's interesting. She's dropping back down in weight. I believe it's kind of a tough cut for her, I would imagine. So she'll probably need to finish her opponent probably early in the first round or something. Maybe I know she has a lot of third round finishes, guys, but again, she's kind of an extra 10 pounds. It's not easy. Piera Rodriguez looks really good. Her cardio looks good too. Beat Sam Hughes. Like Sam Hughes has great cardio and out cardioed her. So to me, she's looked good in the UFC. That wins pretty good. PK Hansen, Marcel. But yeah, the Velasquez Machado girl she beats pretty good too. I mean, like she's looked solid. She's undefeated. I don't want to go against her, man. I like her. Robertson's. I think she has the most submission wins in women's UFC history. I think, but maybe besides Ronda or something. Like she's right there. But again, I just got some question marks about her. I always have, and especially at 115, I don't know. So I'm going to go with Piera Rodriguez by decision. We have the same thoughts, Marcel. I'm actually curious what the odds are because we both thought that Rodriguez, but I don't think it's up yet. But yeah, hopefully comes up. I'd be curious to see what that is. All right, go to the next fight here. We got a light heavyweight bout between two veterans that I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised these guys are still fighting. So we got Zak Cummings taking on Ed Shortfuse Herman, who's one of my all-time favorites, by the way. Love Ed Herman. And, hey, man, this might be his last fight, Marcel. It's possible. It's very possible. So let's take a look at this fight, guys. Like the odds for it, again, Zak Cummings favored -250, Ed Herman +200. Let me start on this one, Marcel.
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know Zak Cummings was on the roster still. He hasn't fought in 3 years. He is coming off a win. His last fight over Alessio Di Chirico was pretty competitive. But here's the thing: like Zach is an older guy, 38, but he's won 3 of his last 4, and the layoff obviously worries you always about an older fighter. But the thing is, Ed Herman's even older, right? He's like 42. Ed is like one of the oldest guys in the UFC. He's turning 43 this year. Love Ed Herman, been around forever. Super, super tough, man. But I know he had that 3-fight win streak, guys, but like that fight with Mike Rodriguez was really weird. The way it was roughed was terrible by Chris Tognoni, and realistically should have lost the fight. Then against Alonzo Menefield, again, tough as nails, very hard to put this guy away, but like just kind of was like getting there, getting kicked, and Menefield just kind of made it look like a sparring session. I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to definitely try his best. He'll try to finish the fight, but Cummings is a pretty durable guy for the most part. Not the easiest guy to finish himself. I got to go with Cummings more so. I mean, how can I pick Ed Herman at age 42 now, coming off some fight? Like the last fight, he took a lot of damage, and can't pick him. He hasn't fought in 2 years almost as well. They're both coming off long layoffs. Really, they kind of cancel each other out. I don't know, man. I know they're again. Zach is 38, but 42 is. If the amount of damage he's taken at Herman in his career, how can I pick him here? So I can't do it. Zak Cummings, you know what? Yeah. Zak Cummings probably by TKO. I kind of think he's going to finish him now that I think about it. What are you thinking?
Man, when Ed Herman made his debut in the UFC, I was a fucking minor. So that's how long he's in the UFC.
Let me just say, by the way, Cummings by decision plus 100, but by knockout plus 450. So
I feel decision more decision.
Well, that's why the odds are plus 100.
Yeah,
I just think he could catch him. I think it's possible.
It's possible, but at the same time, Herman is tough. You know, we all know that.
He's very fucking tough.
You also listen, man. Gingers are very tough.
Let me ask you a question: how much blood is going to be on his face at the end of the fight?
A lot. And probably with both guys, to be really
honest.
Both
guys, but like I think Ed's just going to be covered in blood. I really do.
So I'm taking Cummings decision. A really odd fight, dude. When they made this one, I remember when I saw this fight, I was like, do they have recent pictures of these two? You know, I think Herman fought in 2021, and I think Cummings' last fight was against the Kiriko, right?
I was surprised he was still on the roster. I forgot about that fight, kind of.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So I'm taking Cummings here.
Yeah, I think him too. So we all have the same thought. It's crazy, right? We haven't. I don't think we picked different fighters yet. But maybe coming up here, maybe in this fight. Coming up, Marcel. This is your fight of the night, and you're very surprised this fight is on the prelims, as we have a flyweight bout between contenders Brandon Royval and Matheus Nicolau. The odds for this one: Nicolau minus 200, Brandon Royval plus 165. Go ahead, share your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing fight, man. I think the UFC still underestimates flyweights for somehow, you know.
Yeah.
And man. I mean, if you look at Brandon Royval in the UFC, he came up very quick. Remember, two wins against Elliott and Cara France. Then injured the shoulder against Brandon Moreno, lost to Pantoja, and in 2022. 2 good wins against Bontorin and Schnell. And Schnell, he was actually he overcame adversity in that fight and finished Schnell early still. Well, also was fight of the night while they only fought like for 2 minutes. Nicolau is one of those guys who got cut after the UFC pretty much wanted to get rid of the flyweight division. And back then he was actually 3-1, remember? And he got cut after a loss to Dustin Ortiz. Mm-hmm. Worked himself back up. Is now 4-0 since his comeback. Split decision over Kapp, which was a little bit controversial, but after that, 2 good wins against Elliott and Dvorak, and the Schnell TKO. It was a knockout in the second round. Now against Royval, it's a difficult fight, man, because I think Nicolau is good on the ground. He's good stand-up. Royval is super explosive, but at the same time, he can get caught. We saw it before, you know. I think Nicolau is kind of the guy who is really like basic, really good and doesn't make too many mistakes, you know. And Royval, he is more spectacular, but he makes more mistakes in this fight, in my opinion. So for me, it's like if Royval doesn't make those mistakes, he can get him out of there, I think. But at the same time, Nicolau is super tough, and I favor Nicolau by decision here.
I'm picking Nicolau too, man. I have to. I think he's looked really good since coming back to the UFC. He's been, very competitive in pretty much all his fights.
Last fight.
Sorry, go ahead.
Plus, he's in good spirits because his girlfriend won.
His girlfriend. Who said she was hot? Someone would say, "Oh, Juan, right?"
Juan, yeah.
Luan is, that's his girlfriend. He was there in the octagon after she won. Yeah, she's good looking for sure. Yeah, I think he's looked good, right? Like he beat Schnell, knocked him out. Dvorak. I think the Dvorak win looks pretty good. That guy's not bad, you know. Elliott's a good win. The Kapp fight, I thought he lost that fight, but just the fact it was that close against a really good fighter like that shows how talented he is. He looked good and brave before he came back to the UFC. I just think he's more solid, more well-rounded. That's what I think, more solid. And Royval dangerous everywhere. I get it, especially the submissions, nasty, and he's got some good striking too at times. But like, I don't know, man, leaves himself really exposed in his fights. His defense is kind of bad in my opinion. So going with the better defensive fighter, I think. By the way, especially sorry, let me finish. I think I know you said the decision. That's usually what flyweights do, but I think he could submit him too. I think it's possible. Anyways, go ahead.
Is he also the only guy with a Japanese necktie win in the UFC?
He might be. He might be. That was against who was it?
Korea, I think his debut.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was They call it UFC stats says guillotine, but I think it was a Japanese necktie.
Yeah.
I want to say there was one in WEC. Maybe I'm wrong. Can't remember. All right, we'll go to the next fight here, guys. We got Bill Algeo taking on TJ Brown, and odds for this one. Bill Algeo minus 165, TJ Brown plus 135. Your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe this is going to bite me, but I think this is a pretty easy pick, man, to be really honest. I think Bill Algeo is better than TJ Brown everywhere. Yep. I think TJ Brown really saved his UFC career pretty much by I know he was 2-1 in his last 3 fights, but still before that he lost 2, and that Kai Kamaka split decision was a little bit,
Yep.
But they look good against Eric Silva, who came in undefeated back then in the fight, and he submitted him in the 3rd round, so that looked good. Bill Algeo comes off that split decision, lost to Feely. Before that, looked good against Joanderson Brito in the 2nd and 3rd round, and against Herbert Burns, he had some trouble in the first one, but Herbert Burns was completely exhausted, man, after a few minutes, and Bill Algeo won the fight.
Yep.
Has also a great fight against Ricardo Lamas, which was his last fight of Lamas' career. Algeo for me, decision.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I like Bill Algeo in this fight. I think the odds are good too. Minus 165. Good odds on him. I just think he's got the better cardio, Marcel. I think that's what it comes down to. He's super tough, good wrestling. Yeah, I think he wins the fight personally. So I'm with you, Marcel. I have Bill Algeo winning a decision in this fight as well. Although I do think he could potentially submit him too. TJ Brown's, shown his neck out there before, left it out there before. So I think it's possible he gets submitted as well. All right, go to the next fight here. We got Clay Guida taking on Rafa Garcia, Marcel, in the UFC lightweight division. What am I talking about? Rafa Garcia right now minus 225. Clay Guida plus 185. I'll start this one too. I really like Rafa Garcia in this fight, man. Like I feel good about him here, guys. Like Guida's obviously a veteran. He's got good wrestling himself. I get it, but like I just think Rafa Garcia right now is prime. He's only 28. He's looked great in the UFC. Great wrestling. The pace is unbelievable. I think he's looked good in the UFC, man. I really do. I know he lost to Gritzmacher. I thought he won that fight. Could easily be 5-2 now. And then the other fight was close. Was pretty close. He lost the fight, but it was close. Guida, he obviously matches up well with the wrestling, but like I don't know, man. At the age, he's turning 43 this year? Yeah, I can't pick, or 42 as well. He's like Ed Herman. I can't pick him. I know, again, guys. Like I know that he's looked pretty good, but I just can't pick him in this fight, man. And here's the thing about Clay. Like I've watched him so many times over the years. Like his submission is he leaves his neck out a lot for submissions. And I think Rafa Garcia can submit him. I really do. So that's what I would take a look at, Marcel. Rafa Garcia by submission. That's going to be my pick in this one. I think he gets his neck and chokes him out. What do you think?
I'm definitely on Rafa Garcia here as well. I think only people who are really like picking with the hearts going with Clay Guida here, to be really honest. Rafa Garcia for me is like pretty much a no-brainer. So yeah, I'm picking him as well. Do I pick him with a finish? I'm not sure, man. If he finishes him. Yeah, it's either a decision or a late finish for Rafa Garcia.
Either decision or like submission, I believe, by like rear naked choke or something.
Yeah.
A couple of comments here. You guys see Clay fighting plus 43? Maybe. He's another guy that potentially, Marcel, he could go to like game bred boxing or bare knuckle boxing. I could see him doing that. Rafa decision, possibly. Yeah, I think it's either decision or a submission. I'm just saying like plus 400 is submission prop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Decisions plus 125. She's looking at plus money on it. Yeah, I like Garcia in this fight, man. I'm with you. Like he's one of my, I would say, stronger picks personally.
Me too.
Pedro Munhoz up next against Chris Gutierrez. Love this fight. I kind of feel strong with my pick in this one, though, to be honest.
Okay, let me hear.
Yeah, so the odds for this one, we got Chris Gutierrez minus 225, plus 180 on Pedro Munhoz. Damn right, I'm picking Chris Gutierrez more. So I've been picking him throughout his win streak. Why would I stop picking him now? Guy's awesome. He's looked, I think he's looked fantastic in the UFC. He's got some of the best striking in the division. His leg kicks are nasty. He's just looked great, man. Really hasn't showed too many like flaws in this game, in my opinion. Munhoz, hasn't looked great lately, but obviously been fighting elite competition, right? That's the thing. Like he's been fighting killers, man. Look at his last like 10 opponents, Marcel. You got like Sean O'Malley with no contest. I thought he was doing well in that fight, by the way. Lost to Cruz. Lost to Aldo, beat Rivera, lost to Edgar, lost to Sterling. Like he's only losing to the elite guys. So
although the Edgar fight, he should have won.
I thought he beat Frank Edgar too. I did. Anyways, again, he's getting up there in age though, and he has taken a lot of damage. Also, he's got to change his nickname. He's not the Young Punisher anymore. Come on, he's not young anymore. I don't know, Marcel. I really like Chris Gutierrez, man. He is big, the bigger fighter in this fight. I think he's. I know Munhoz has got good kicks, but Gutierrez is next level with the kicks. I think he just leg kicks him and beats him and wins a decision. That's what I think. His Munhoz is tough as fucking hell. Like it's almost impossible to finish, Marcel. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the decision for Gutierrez probably. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's just like Young Assassin with Melvin Gillard and Wonder Boy with Stephen Thompson, right?
What do you think?
Gutierrez is going to win the fight. That's what I think. Maybe even finishes him, but I would go with a decision.
Yeah, I think we have the same pick in this one. Ranked opponent next for Garcia. Maybe he's got a good record in the UFC.
Depends how he
finishes. If he finishes quickly, that's next level, right? Gutierrez by decision. I think that's what I like as well. What are the odds on that? Gutierrez by decision. Plus, it's -115. I got lay juice. Okay.
I'll tell you something. If Rafa Garcia beats Clay Guida, match him up with Claudio Puelles.
That'd be fine, yeah. Gutierrez knockout plus 450. That's interesting. All right, go to the next fight here, Marcel. Next fight we have in the UFC light heavyweight division. Yeah. We got Tanner Boser against Ion Cutelaba. I swear to God, this was the co-main event for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so they changed that up. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we got Cutelaba and Boser. Boser's making his debut, obviously, at 205 after the media asked him for so many years. He always got angry at like Brett Okamoto and a couple other people that were like, "Gonna move down." He's like, "I'm not moving down a weight." And then he ends up doing it. And by the way, the pictures, Marcel, he looks great shape.
Yeah, he does.
He like, dude, why did he not do this sooner? Like, why didn't he? I don't get it.
Probably loves to eat like myself, so yeah.
Yeah, he's just stubborn too, like all fighters. Anyways, Ion Cutelaba -125, Boser +105. Should be noted, Boser opened at -160. Marcel, I like Boser in this fight. I think he knocks him out. Like, all his wins in the UFC are by knockout for the most part. Cutelaba is a guy that's got about 5 minutes of cardio. He's going to gas out after that. He's lost, 5 of his last 6? Again, against good competition. I just don't trust his durability. He's been finished in all those losses. He gets finished like a lot. Almost all his losses are by stoppage. Boser, again, coming down from heavyweight, got that power. Here's the thing about Boser. Like, you could argue he lost 3 of his decision losses, Marcel. All 3 of them, really. He could be 6-0 right now, right? If you had different judges. Like, Nascimento fight was close. The fight with Latifi was close. The Arlovsky fight was close. I'm just saying, like, with the different set of circumstances, guys, he could be undefeated. You never know, but he isn't. And he's an underdog in this fight. I think he's being undervalued here. I think he should be favored to win this fight. He's more consistent, in my opinion, and I think that he's got the better cardio. Probably, I understand that the weight cut's going to be a concern, right? But hopefully his chin holds up. I'll just say that because if it holds up, I think he'll win. Tanner Boser by knockout. That's my pick, Marcel. What do you like?
So if Boser doesn't get knocked out by a crazy punch by Cutelaba, he's going to win the fight, I think, Cutelaba with his not good fight IQ, he had Nzechukwu in trouble, and then he shot for a takedown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, man, I'm not a fighter, but I never understand that when you got somebody in trouble, you shoot for a takedown. But hey, who am I? Boser, I think he wins the fight. He looked good. He looks good. I think he should have been going to light heavyweight much sooner. But hey, it's good that he finally is going to do it. I had to laugh, man. I was watching a clip of James Lynch about that meme from Tanner Boser. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Boser's going to win this fight, I think. I would pick him with a finish as well. Probably second round, not first, second round.
Knockouts +200 for the pro.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay, a couple of comments. How many fights did Pedro has left? Depends what happens in this fight. He gets brutally knocked out. It takes away from him. But again, he's got some good. What's that?
How do you say that?
That was
blast
a huge
you?
sneeze. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Or you couldn't hear me anyways. I muted it. But yeah, that was a crazy sneeze. Boser ML decision. Yeah, I think he knocks him out though. So that decision is possible too. Boser and Jacoby both 8 years since there's good chins. I agree. But again, Boser's moving down, right? So that's interesting. And also, Tim Hague knocked him out was like 5 seconds of the fight. Like, he's never been knocked out other than that. So very good chin. All right, go to the next fight here, Marcel. We got another light heavyweight bout here between Azamat Mirzakhanov, the professional, and taking on Dustin Jacoby, the Hanyak. Love this fight, man. I mean, this is such an awesome fight. 2 guys, 205 that will stand there and trade for you, and it's going to be a fun fight to watch. Odds for this one, Dustin Jacoby, -165, Azamat Mirzakhanov, +140. This is an interesting fight. I know which way I lean in this fight. I want to hear your thoughts on this one, Marcel. What do you think?
Do you actually know what the Hanyak means? Because I have no idea.
I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay. I should check while you're talking.
Yeah. To be really honest, if you look at their fights, Mirzakhanov is undefeated, but he's like a quicksand kind of fighter. You feel like it's not going to go well, and then out of nowhere he gets you from somehow.
By the way, I just found it. So it's an out-of-line Polish soldier.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. I couldn't remember it anymore, but that I looked it up before. I didn't know anymore.
There you go.
Yeah. And Jacoby really looked good in the UFC since he came back, in my opinion. He has one draw against Cutelaba, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And he got that loss against Khalil Roundtree, which I thought he clearly won. That said, for me, it's like, many people will go up Murzakanov because he's undefeated, probably, but I won't. I think Jacoby looked really good, and I think this will be stand-up battle. And I think he wins Jacoby, dude. I think he puts him away. Second round KO for Jacoby.
Yeah, I love this fight. Man, we haven't disagreed in any fight yet, but I think we're gonna finally disagree on one. Finally, I'm going with Murzakanov, Marcel. I have to take an underdog here. I've been picking a lot of the favorites. Again, underdogs always win. They've been doing so well lately. And Murzakanov just jumps off the page to me because I am surprised he's plus 140 right now. Listen, I know Jacoby's a great striker. Like, technically, probably the superior striker. I mean, I probably no doubt about that. But it's MMA. It is MMA, and time and time again, we see fighters that should win lose. Murzakanov in these fights, Marcel, like you said, like, just he's got that cheat code. You talked about this before. He's got that cheat code to pull out of his ass when he's losing a fight. He's down on points. He can pull it out of his ass and knock you out. And I have to take a shot in here, Marcel, because the power is just something to behold. Undefeated again. It's not a young guy. He's 33. He's in his prime. He's ready to go. Look great in the UFC. Knocking out Devin Clark is a big statement. The Chukwi fight was not looking good in that fight, but knocked him out. And then obviously the Sheffel fight. Look, actually, that's in hindsight, it looks even better probably because that guy did, decent in PFL. I don't know, man. I just got to take a shot on Marcel. Like, listen, Jacoby again, probably the superior technical striker, but it doesn't mean he'll win the fight. And I love Dust Jacoby too. It's not like I want to pick against him here because I think he's a great fighter, man, and he's consistent. And you'll know you get a good fight out of him. But again, Marcel, there's something with this Murzakanov guy I really like, man. I think he can pull off another knockout here, surprise knockout. So. For me, I'll take Murzakanov by knockout. Odds on this one, plus 265. Jacoby by knockout, plus 265 for your pick. Crazy, eh? That is funny. Anyway, someone's talking smack about us, but that's okay. Don't know why. Someone was talking crap. Yeah, don't worry about it. That's a comment. Murzakanov first round sprinkle. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe later in the fight personally, but yeah, first round could happen. Do you guys think Azamat's undersized for light heavyweight? Probably, yeah. I mean, I was looking at that earlier too. He is shorter and he's got less reach, but again, I don't know, man. I think he can catch him. It's kind of like a hunch almost, Marcel. You know what I mean? I definitely get why you picked Jacoby. All right, we got two more fights here, Marcel. We got the featherweight bout between Edson Barboza and Billy Quarantillo, which is the co-main event, and the odds for this one, man, what a good fight. By the way, someone's saying. Under 2.5 rounds. Hey, it's on collectibles. Yeah, I think so. I think there's a finish in that fight, and I know Marcel thought the same thing. All right, Edson Barboza and Billy Quarantillo. Odds for this one. Billy Q minus 165. Edson Barboza plus 140. What do you think, man?
Difficult. The thing is, Edson Barboza, he didn't look good against Mitchell in his last fight. Before that, Giga also not, but. I think he can be competitive with Quarantillo. If you look at Quarantillo last fight, Alexander Hernandez looked very bad in the first round, I think, or Alexander looked really good, and he came back in the second round and finished him. This is kind of like where's Barboza right now in his career, and can Billy match that at this moment of his career? I think it will be a competitive fight. Actually, I thought Billy was a lot younger, actually, but he's actually older than me. So I think they have a 2-year difference. I think Barboza 36, Quarantillo's 34. I feel like Barboza can still win the fight, dude. That's what I feel. I think with striking, I think he's more technical. I think Billy can surprise. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Barboza by the fight decision.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, this is another interesting fight. I think this could be a fun fight too. But for me, it's I've been thinking about this one a lot. Again, it's like the last fight actually in a way because I definitely think Barboza is the more superior technical striker. I mean, I think no one would argue otherwise. But getting dropped by Bryce Mitchell and then the fight with Jakadze getting dropped a couple times has not looked good lately, guys. Hasn't been that competitive. I know you knocked out Burgos, right? But did so much damage in that fight. That was a fucking war. That fight was insane. I think a lot of wars right in his career. Kind of feel like the damage is adding up now. And Quarantillo again, a lot of wars too. But I think that last fight against Hernandez showed that he still can take some punishment and then come back later in the fight and win. I'm with Billy Q more, so I think he finishes him. That's what I think. So Billy Q for me by knockout, my plus 225. You said Barboza by decision. That's plus 235, so similar odds. That's probably the two ways the fight goes. Billy's tough as hell. I don't really see Barboza finishing him, although I guess obviously it's possible with his kicks. Couple of comments. Billy and Max would be awesome. Max loses. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I've always wanted to see Max and Barboza. I think that would be a good fight too. Barboza 3-7 in the last 10. Yeah, it could be done. Close fight. I think Barboza with the experience possibly might go. Possibly. Thoughts on Umar? I have no idea. I don't think it's a lie though. I think Merab actually confirmed that was offered to him, but he's injured, right? All right, go to the next fight here. We got the last fight, Marcel. Wow, he made it to the main event. Max Holloway taking Arnold Allen. Another interesting fight here. 5-round featherweight bout. Odds for this one: Max Holloway minus 185, Arnold Allen plus 150. What do you think?
It's another same how I think. Like for me, Max is still the second best in the division. That's how I see it. And the thing is like. Arnold Allen, very talented guy, but hasn't had that marquee win in his career, in my opinion. Has a win over Melendez, but that wasn't Melendez. Who was it? The Melendez anymore from the strike first days. Got a win over Dan Hooker, which I don't really rate, and he got the win over Cater, which was an injury, and it's nothing he can do about, right? So now fighting Max Holloway. If he beats Holloway, he should get a title shot, in my opinion. That's how I see it. The thing is Arnold Allen is going up, in my opinion, and Holloway is a little bit more stationary, And the thing is Arnold Allen yet at that point of Max Holloway, or isn't he still a little bit under it, And that's the real thing in this one. Based on what I've seen, I think Arnold Allen has a chance to win the fight, but based on what I've seen so far, I gotta side with Max Holloway in this one. Because he showed he beat pretty much everybody besides Volkanovski in the division. And he made it competitive the second time with Volkanovski. When he fought third time, definitely not. Decision. And the thing is, like, don't forget, in 2021, he beat Rodriguez as well. It was also a competitive fight, but he beat him, And his only 3 recent losses in the division are against Volkanovski. So I'm taking Max Holloway here.
This one's tricky. This is a tricky one, man. I think, anyways. Because the thing is, like, I just don't know where Max is right now, right? Like,
that's it.
Thinking about it, Marcel, I was planning on picking Max. Let me just talk about like my thought process here. Because I'm like, all right, Max is one of the best ever. He's only lost to Volk. He's a great striker. Should really have any issues with the grappling in this fight. But the thing is, like, I just think Marcel. I think the damage is adding up with him too. And I'm pretty sure he's I'm like 99% sure that he has the record for most significant strikes absorbed without ever getting dropped. He's never been dropped in 20 something fights in the UFC. Allen's got some power, and he can surprise. And man, again, this is tough because Holloway is one of the best ever, but it's just tough because he lost to Volk. Like, it's hard to take a lot away, but at the same time, that last fight was not competitive, and he absorbed a lot. He hasn't fought in a year. He took a lot of damage in that fight. It worries me. Arnold Allen, really fresh, and the thing with Arnold more so, his whole career they've built him slow, and they've always given him the right matchup. So it's his team has been building in the right way, and they're definitely confident they have the tools to beat Max. And I want to say he can do it, man. So it's tough to go against Max Holloway. He is one of the greats. He's gonna be in the Hall of Fame. We talk about Hall of Famers. Max Holloway is going in, but I think Arnold Allen, Marcel, he's got that. I think 10 fights in a row. To me, that's kind of hard to go against. I'm gonna go with the 10-fight win streak. I'll ride the momentum in this one, man. And I'll take Allen, and I think he might be able to hurt Holloway. I don't know if he finishes him, but I think maybe he'll be that first guy to knock him down at least.
Can I ask you something?
Sure, of course.
If the fight hits the ground, who do you favor?
It's hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think maybe Max, but I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to stay standing, though, I'm pretty sure.
That's what I think, too, but I was wondering what you would say.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, maybe he'll hit the ground. Maybe, but I feel like, I don't know. When was the last time Max has really used this grappling? It's been a while.
Rodriguez,
yeah. He did take him down a couple times. maybe that. You know what? We'll see what happens. That's the thing. People forget about that fight, right? Like a little bit because it was, it was 2 years ago. But like now, one guy's the champ, but the guy that lost or that beat him is not the champ, right? It's kind of weird. Max is in a weird spot in the division, man. I could see him like doing like super fights too. Maybe going to 155 again.
He's in the Whitaker spot, right?
Yeah, he is. Same with Rose. They're in the same spot, right?
Yeah, but Rose at least won.
Actually, Rose won the fights. Anyways, Arnold Allen. Do you think I'm crazy with this Allen pick? Do you think it's nuts?
No. I think it's a close fight, dude. So you can go either way. I feel more safe by picking Max.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I agree with that.
I know Arnold is super talented and all, but I'm not convinced yet because he doesn't have that marquee win.
I know what you're saying. Like it's almost like you have to like kind of take a shot on him. Like you have to believe. Like it's like I know a lot of people picked Aaron Blanchfield a few months ago, right? Like I didn't really see that fight going that way, and then she looked amazing, right? So I kind of feel like Max has, or Arnold Allen has that potential to do the Max in this fight look great. Comments: Holloway should win. Maybe. I mean, he's favored. Pick Max by decision. That seems like the safe pick here. Allen has faced one top 10 guy in Cater injured. Wanted to see Allen in rounds 4 and 5. Yeah, I mean, again, you're taking a shot on him, right? A little bit of a guess. Every chin is expiration day. I also feel like Max's chin has been, he's taking a lot of damage, man. Look at his last couple of fights. Like he's absorbed what? Against Volk, 199 significant strikes, 159 against Yair. Even against Cater in his fight, like where he landed 445. Dude, he's absorbed like over 100 strikes in like 7 straight fights, guys. Like that adds up. Actually, it's more than that. It's like 8 straight fights. Again, most strikes absorbed without ever getting knocked down. So if Allen does drop him, that says something with his power. All right, a couple other comments really quickly. I don't know. Asphalt Taber, I don't know. I think a London card, right? 11 years Max finished. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Last time Max lost at 145 to someone that wasn't Volk Connor in 2013. You're forgetting about Dustin Poirier too, right?
That was 155.
Oh, 145. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the thing. That's why it's hard, right? Because I think he really should win the fight, Marcel. But I think Allen, it's got what it takes to do it. A couple other questions, guys. We're getting a little tired now, though. It's 2 hours more so. We're gonna wrap up here. But I do want to do PFL really quick. Someone's asking about that. I was asking about Gamrot. I don't know. Would you pick between Fizzy and Gamrot? I would probably pick Gamrot. Allen look good against. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyways, let's do PFL. Yeah. Anything else for that card? You're good.
No, let's go PFL. Let's
just do PFL quickly, guys. We'll go through this really fast. Let me pull it up here, Marcel, on the screen. And you have any thoughts on this card? Have you looked at this one?
Yeah, can you pull it up? Because I don't know the exact matchups out of my head. You have a few.
Yeah, here we go. All right, so, Sada Busi, the Swedish Denzel Washington, is that his name? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Against your boy, Marcel, Gerard Hussein Al-Salali, who's looked, he had that win in his debut. That knockout was brutal. He's pretty good. Anyways, odds in this one, really read them off quick. C, minus 175, Al-Salali, plus 145. What do you think?
Difficult, man. Difficult. I think Sada Busi has looked pretty well in the last season, but I'm still not really sold on him, to be really honest, man. So I think Al-Salawi has a good chance to win the fight. I think it's close.
Yeah, I do too. I actually do too. Next up, we got Ben Egley versus Magomed Magomedov. Who is this guy? I do not know who this is. He has fought in PFL before? No. I don't know who this dude is. He's mostly fought in King of the Cage. That's not a good thing. Magomed's minus 900. I almost feel like he should be higher, shouldn't he?
Yeah, man. Going with the Dagestani Eminem. Yeah.
This fight's not hard to pick at all. Yeah. Natan Schultz versus Steve Ray. Have they fought before or no? No, they haven't.
Steve, he fought Pettis twice.
Yeah. Schultz minus 360, Ray plus 285. What do you think?
I would take a gamble on Stevie, to be really honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised the odds are that wide. I feel like that fight's closer than that.
Yeah.
Roush Banfield against Alex Martinez. This is a good fight.
Yeah,
Banfield. Yeah, you're taking him?
Yeah.
He's actually the underdog plus 120. I like the underdog in this fight.
Me too.
Martinez is minus 150. I just like Manfield a lot more. Shen Mitchell versus Nia and Lopez. Don't know these guys. You know anything about them? Lopez is the
No
favorite,
idea.
minus 225. I don't know who these guys are. Undefeated guy from Mexico. Okay. Oh,
No,
Lux Fight League. Okay, that's a good promotion.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this guy. I'll be honest. And this guy, Shane Mitchell, let's see him quickly. Where's he from? Diamondback FC. That's Australia, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, he's fought in like low-level promotion. All right. No interest in that one. Bruno Miranda against Ahmed Amir. I don't know these guys either, Marcel. Do you?
I've heard of Ahmed Amir. Hasn't he fought in Brave?
Maybe. Plus 135 to him, minus 165 Miranda. I don't think I know these guys too well. Yeah, he's a Brave guy. Okay, so you got that one. The other dude, Bruno Miranda. Oh, he did fight in PFL. Yeah, he fought once. Okay, so I know him a little bit. Yeah,
I fought in the Challenger series, right?
Yeah. I don't have a pick in that for myself though. Zach Jusla versus Brandon Jenkins. He's back in PFL. Jenkins.
I'm going with Jenkins, man.
Minus 135. He's favorite. I think he wins. Olivia Alvarez versus Shane Burgos. Your boy, man, Shane Burgos. Odds. He is minus. No, OAM is favored. Minus 155. Burgos plus 125. Gotta take Shane, right?
Yeah, I take Shane as well. Yeah, Shane is
taking Shane, man.
Yeah,
Shane Burgos, dude. I know OAM's a good fighter, but I think Shane beats him. You know, if they were in the UFC, I'd pick Shane too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shane. But what decision?
Yeah, or even the TKO.
Possible. Yeah, I'm taking Shane too. Clay Collard against Yamato Nishikawa. Collard minus 255. He should win, right?
Yeah.
I think. Dennis Goldtop against Patrick Brady. I guess that's on this card. I don't know.
Goldtop.
Minus 625 for Goldtop. Yeah, he should
win.
Carlos Leal against David Zawada. Oh, he's in PFL. I didn't know that. Okay.
He's fighting the Leal guy. Who was
Carlos Leal minus 245. What about David Zawada plus 195? You know, he's a dog that can win.
Definitely possible.
Tons of experience in the UFC. He's coming off a win in his last fight. Look, his losses are pretty good fighters, Marcel.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad. Carlos Leal had that win over Ray Cooper, but I don't know how good he really is. Anyways, and then there's one other fight. Magomed Umalatov against Delano Taylor. I'm guessing you're taking Umalatov, right?
Yeah, although Taylor fought the final last year, right?
Yeah, minus 400 on him. So
I'm sorry.
The fight. You okay?
I don't know.
You all right, buddy?
Yeah, man, no problem. Something in my throat.
Oh man. Anyways, I like Brewers, but upset. All right, I think we're good here, Marcel. You're sick. Yeah, we'll get out of here, guys. Guys, thanks again for joining us today for the podcast. Appreciate it. We're back next week, same time as always, 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday nights. For now, you can follow me on Twitter at @MMattaMartin. Follow Marcel, Big Marcel 24. Talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the fights, UFC Kansas City this weekend. Take care. See ya. Peace.